Hello guys and welcome to EICMA 2024. Today we're looking at the 2025 bikes from Royal Enfield. They've been doing a presentation today and let's have a look at what they've got. As you can see behind me is the Flying Flea, and that's the electric bike that they've just launched. They launched it yesterday. But basically the Flying Flea is a old school reimagined classic bike, putting the electric motor and bring it to the future.
Live lightly, feel free is the slogan used for the Flying Flea, and Enfield are keeping the full spec of this new electric model tightly under wraps. Though it is speculated online to fit in with the 125cc category, and I'd expect no less considering the potential owners in the UK will very likely be riding on a CBT licence within the urban jungle. It's a fully electric powertrain here with aluminium frame and magnesium battery case, with Sid Lal making a big point to indicate that the lightweight electric bike will excel in both fun potential and within the range limits. If we work from the classic 125cc Flying Flea that was used by the British military in the mid-90s, that weighed in at around 60 kilograms wet, with a top speed of 45 miles an hour and a total 3.5 brake horsepower. So with the name and slogan, this should be super lightweight. As a brief history, that super low weight was perfect for airdropping the original Flea in for British troops back in World War II, and you'd imagine they didn't just revive the name just for the marketing alone. Of course, I mean, even look at the way that the stand was set up with the parachute, and even the video, there was a parachute airdropping it in. You'd hope it would follow on with that lightweight characteristic for a brilliant ride, regardless of the power on paper. I mean, for example, the Suron bikes weigh around 50 kilograms, and Maving's similarly bare RM1S is 133 kilograms. So it's possible that this could weigh around 100 kilograms. Let us know your weight guesses in the comments, but I think it could be incredible.
So let's have a little closer look at it. You can already see you've got a nice suspension unit that's very reminiscent of the classic Flying Flea, which was a military vehicle. So this vehicle has then been reimagined, and Royal Enfield put it as a fast forward to make it more future-proof. As I say, they've been looking at the market for electric bikes and they've realised that big bikes with electric motors don't really sell too well because the charging and the capabilities of electric aren't currently for long range. They're at the moment more about riding in the city, getting out and about in town, maybe doing a bit of city plus riding, as they put it, and then getting back, put it on charge and going from there. So they thought what best to do is get a lightweight chassis, make sure that the lightweight, nimble agility is there and key to use with that electric power. Now the power pack here is belt driven to the rear wheel, and that's going to give you that classic electric torque that is super fun to use. This is going to be a family of Flying Flea units, and there's another one to my left, to your right, that is a sort of alternative take on this current one I'm looking at here. But in the presentation, they also teased a scrambler edition. It's going to have your upside down normal forks, a little bit more ground clearance, and a little bit more provision to do some off-road riding. So I think this looks really nice. I mean, it'll be interesting to see how well it sells. It's kind of similar to the idea that Maving work with, but I'll be very keen to see if you guys like that. So get it in the comments down below and subscribe and like whilst you're there. They also showed off the Bear 650, so let's go and have a look at that now. So, also launched, and this was launched a little bit before EICMA because I think it was either leaked online and then they just had to run with it, but it's the Bear 650.
So, in gut we trust is the motto on the Bear 650, and that was born, of course, out of the 1960 Big Bear run that was dominated by Eddie Mulder. Thriving on that feeling you get in your gut when you're a little bit out of your depth, but you persevere anyway. Very nice, quite a nice story. The spec on the Bear 650 is naturally very similar to the Interceptor 650 of which it was born from. With 47 brake horsepower achieved at 7,250 RPM from this twin and 56.4 Nm of torque, which is a little up from the Interceptor's 52.3 Nm as a result of the airflow from the new exhaust. This Bear is priced at £6,749 and up. And with the additions of the Tripper TFT dash and the twin Showa 43mm upside down fork up front, that's quite tempting, particularly for those who might want to take this a little bit green laning. Vehicle weight is listed at 214 kilograms and the seat is 830mm. So you may find it a tad heavy in corners, but from a few ride reports, it does seem to be quite the dark horse when it gets a bit twisty. Finally, it's a 19-inch front wheel paired to a 17-inch rear, and it has a 14-litre tank. Now my question here, would you trust your gut and go for the bare 650?
Now, the Interceptor is used as the base bike, as you can quite obviously tell. But what they've done is uprated it a bit. They've sort of brought it, fast forwarded it into 2025. So you've got uprated suspension, now upside down shocks, just to give it a little bit more traction and feel in sort of off-road climates, but also just day-to-day riding. You've also got better brakes up front, and you've got scrambler tyres as standard for OEM. Moving a little bit back up, you've got the Tripper navigation that you'll also know from the Himalayan, and that's going to be smartphone interactable, and it's all digital. So despite this being kind of inspired by the past, it's then going fast forwarding into the future. So a bit of inspiration for both, and I think that makes it quite interesting to use as a day-to-day bike. When you sort of move downwards, the exhaust has been turned from a 2-into-2 into a 2-into-1 exhaust. I'm surprised that the Scrambler exhaust doesn't flick up as a Scrambler would. You might sort of see from like the Scrambler 900, or if it was to exit and go along highway. But it might just be because having an exhaust high up would mean more plating and more bodywork panels to stop it from burning your legs. So having it nice and low down is going to be easier for them, basically. And of course, it still is that nice Scrambler style for the 2-into-1. The frame itself is also being adjusted, so the subframe now flicks up, and that gives a little bit more ground clearance at the rear, and you've got twin rear shocks as you did on the Intercept 650. Grab rail here on the back, and ultimately, I think this looks like a really smart little bike. I think it'd be very interesting to see, number one, how it's going to be priced up for 2025, if that changes, and also just how well this is going to be selling. I think it's going to be very interested in the sort of city market, because a lot of scramblers end up in cities where you need that maneuverability and you need to have that wide handlebar grip to throw it around traffic. But then you can take it off-road, and that sort of opens up the door to using it on light tracks and trails. To have a quick look at some of the other styles, you've got this one here, the black and white and grey, nice and sleek. But this one's my personal favourite, at least the ones that are here. With this sort of cyan blue, turquoise blue with the orange stripe, I think it just looks really, really smart. Be very interested to see how this one, number one, sounds, but also how it performs on the road, and if it can handle like a nice trail. Because I know Royal Enfield are going to price this to a very sweet price point where it's going to be affordable, but also return that classic Royal Enfield feel, which is quite raw and powerful. Interested to try this in 2025, to say the least. And then they also had a final reveal, which was a classic 650, but that's over that way, so let's go and have a look. So the final reveal for Royal Enfield was this, the classic 650. And that'll take the same 650 twin motor, air-cooled, of course, for Royal Enfield, and it's going to put it into that classic frame. You'll know that from the classic 350, and we reviewed that before, so click in the top right to watch that review. And at the time, me and Felix loved that bike. It was just so nice and easy to ride, and if anything, it handled nicer than the Hunter 350. But they've basically then taken that sort of Super Meteor and the sort of 650 DNA from there, but put it in that classic 650 frame. And then you've got analog dials, you've got some classic looking suspension units, the switch gears, all the classic bits that you'd expect. This one's got a single seat, I think they've all have here, yeah. So they've all got single seats at the show. I'm not sure if they have a double seat available. But this is going to be a seriously interesting bike to ride. I mean, I've ridden the Super Meteor and the Shotgun 650, or Shotgun 650 here at Bike Matters. You can check out that review. And they are so fun and just enjoyable to ride. You get that real raw character, it's air-cooled, and it just has torque everywhere. I think this is going to perform even nicer. If it handles the same way that the 350 Classic did, I think this would do very well on the market, and I'd just love to give it a thrashing around on the back roads and the countryside roads of the UK.
So, do you fancy a few bits of spec on the fresh Classic 650? Go on then. It has a new larger fuel tank at 14.8 litres. It shares the Shotgun and Super Meteor 650 frame, with of course a few tweaks to style and the way it's set up. And the optional bolt-on removable pillion seat is available here too. Power figures sit at 47 brake horsepower, so right on the A2 limit, with 52.3 Newton meters of torque. It has a 6-speed gearbox and a slip and assist clutch. Those forks up front are 43mm Showa telescopic units with front and rear disc brakes on the 19-inch front and 18-inch rear wheels. Naturally, there is dual channel ABS to use as well. Now, the seat height is listed at a low 800mm, so it's nice and accessible to all, though the listed weight is 243 kilograms, making it quite a bit heavy on the road. In fact, it's the heaviest from Royal Enfield. I could see that the Super Meteor 650, which is a large bike, weighs in at 241 kilograms. The price for the Classic 650 is listed starting from £6,499. So what do you think? Classic 650 or Bear 650?
My favourite from the show, from Royal Enfield, certainly the Bear 650. I think that looks incredible. Having that scrambler ability and then having that sort of flair with the screen, smartphone connectable, brings it into the modern age, and it's going to no doubt be affordable, fun to ride, and just that raw Enfield feel that we all love. But in any case, I'll leave you there. Ciao, see you on the next one. Subscribe, like, comment, and I'll see you there. Bye.